Hello, viewers of GMUNWA TV. How have you all been? It's so nice to see you. I am Professor Lee, who loves you all so much. I hope you are all healthy. And today I would like to share some enjoyable stories with you. Today, I want to talk about why refrigerators keep getting larger. From the moment I wake up in the morning, I hear various stories from those around me and start my day with my reactions. We express our thoughts through words and actions. These days, when I visit shopping centers, I notice that the size of refrigerators is steadily increasing, and new products are constantly emerging in the home appliance sections. One product that especially interests women is the refrigerator. Kimchi refrigerators are now available in standalone models, and their styles change according to trends. It seems that they are evolving in various shapes to match people's preferences and lifestyles. However, I always wonder, why do refrigerators keep getting bigger and more expensive? Every time I see a refrigerator, I think, is it really necessary for it to be this big? People want to show off when they buy large refrigerators. Yet, despite the current trend toward minimalism, it seems like people still prefer larger electronics. What is the psychology behind this? While I don't have a definitive answer, I would like to share some thoughts based on my experiences. One reason people might buy larger refrigerators is that they identify themselves with the refrigerator. If the refrigerator is big and stylish, they might feel like valuable individuals. Whereas an old, unattractive refrigerator might lead them to think, why'd I have to use something like this? As people age, some become frugal, while others want to enjoy good things before they die. Before long, people began to prefer bigger items, and this mindset seems to influence product sizes. I remember a story from my past. When mouse invaded my home, a friend gave me a huge candy-shaped bait. The mouse mistook it for candy and carried it home, only to die after consuming it. This made me realize how dangerous greed can be. I think humans are similar. When we have something good, we often want to share it with others and desire even bigger things. But have you ever considered the impact of these desires on the environment? Nowadays, I worry about environmental pollution. When I think about the impact of making just one refrigerator on the environment, I feel scared. The energy and resources needed to produce a refrigerator are immense, and the carbon emissions generated in the process cannot be ignored. Additionally, the power consumption of using refrigerators requires us to think about sustainability. From this perspective, the increase in size and price of refrigerators is not just a reflection of individual desires, but is deeply connected to the overall consumer culture of society. When consumers want bigger products, manufacturers will release items that meet this demand, creating a cycle. But shouldn't we consider how to use only what we need and break free from this consumer trend? Not everything big is good. And just because I have something large doesn't mean it brings happiness. It can become a poison and a burden in our lives. We often think, that person looks really good. Being around them will solve all my problems, and I won't have to worry anymore. But many times, that person can become the biggest burden and poison in their own life. When we face major issues or feel betrayed, we often experience this with people we know well and are close to. Thus, it can be foolish to show all of ourselves or be swayed by someone just because they seem admirable. People tend to want to know more about those they interact with frequently and understand their inner selves. This tendency can often lead to a trap for ourselves. Today, I want to discuss a situation where a too large refrigerator becomes stuck and cannot get out. One story that comes to mind is about a professor I had during college. He worked part-time managing a mansion where wealthy people lived, and he had a ton of keys. However, one day, he got trapped because of those keys and couldn't open the door to get out. He was so shocked that he wanted to quit his job. Unlike those wealthy people with many keys in the past, nowadays, we can solve everything with a password using just our fingers. However, if we become trapped in too many things, we might later find ourselves unable to escape and stuck there. As material civilization develops excessively, it becomes easy to lose ourselves. Humans are spiritual beings, and when dominated by the material world, we lose sight of who we are. In Milton's book, there's a quote that says, "If we lose ourselves, we lose all paradise." Therefore, in order not to lose ourselves as we go through life, we need to periodically check our values and ensure that they are correct. Just as we have health checkups, we should also regularly diagnose and manage our thoughts. But ultimately, returning to the reason refrigerators are getting larger, it can be viewed as stemming from consumer desires. As consumer needs and wants change, the size of refrigerators is also increasing. Some people may think a large refrigerator is convenient because it can store a lot of food. Moreover, the desire to use products that reflect the latest trends with various new features and designs also plays a part. However, within these trends, it's important to ensure we don't exceed our functional needs regarding refrigerator size. It's important to be responsible consumers who listen to the environmental and resource issues beyond the satisfaction a big and stylish refrigerator provides. After all, while a large refrigerator can enrich our lives, it may not be directly related to true happiness. Consuming only what we need and courageously letting go of the unnecessary is the first step to creating a more valuable life. Ultimately, we need to consider that just because a refrigerator is large doesn't mean it is necessarily good. We cannot ignore the impact its size has on the environment. It is crucial to use what we have only as much as we need. Through responsible consumption, we can create a better environment and pass down a sustainable world to the next generation. Thus, it is necessary to realize that sometimes a small refrigerator is sufficient and to focus on the essential by letting go of greed. Perhaps greater happiness will follow. Not everything big is good. After realizing this, what I have doesn't necessarily bring happiness, and rather, it can become a burden in my life. Therefore, if we keep the following points and examples in mind, our lives can shine brighter, be more peaceful, and free from complex conflicts. Example 1: Popularity and loneliness. For instance, famous celebrities or influencers receive the love of the public, but they also experience a lot of stress and loneliness. They often struggle to find true friends and have difficulty forming sincere relationships with those around them. They may find themselves questioning, why am I so famous, yet still feel lonely? From our perspective, they seem to have everything, but they might lack genuine connections with people. Example 2: Betrayal of trust. Another example is betrayal from close friends. People often feel hurt by those closest to them, whether it's a friend or family member. For instance, if someone confides their biggest secret to a close friend, and that friend shares it with others, the person feels a significant sense of betrayal. Thus, the hurt we experience from those we trust most comes from deep-seated trust, excessive desire, and resulting misery. We often get trapped in the idea that bigger is better. For instance, having a larger house, a better car, or more money does not guarantee true happiness. We might find ourselves in a situation where a massive refrigerator takes up all the space in our home, and we don't know where to store the things we actually need. Clinging to something large can make our lives more inconvenient. The danger of losing oneself in this way, amidst material abundance. We often lose our identity and become dominated by materialism. Ultimately, in a modern society with extreme material civilization, people forget their existence and neglect their spiritual aspects. This can lead to losing the values and identity we hold dear. The importance of self-examination. Therefore, we must always be cautious not to lose ourselves. As Milton mentioned, losing oneself is akin to losing paradise. Thus, just as we conduct health checkups, we should periodically evaluate and manage our thoughts and values. For example, keeping a weekly journal to record our emotions and thoughts can provide us with opportunities to reflect on our inner selves. Through this process, we can readjust the direction of our lives and move toward a better path. So let's summarize the issues arising as refrigerators grow larger. Firstly, the changing consumer desires lead to the increasing size of refrigerators. But we must remember that this does not equate to our true happiness. Firstly, it stems from the desire to possess big and nice things. Considering the environmental impact of such greed, it is important to reduce consumption because it is unsustainable. Secondly, the satisfaction that comes with a large refrigerator has its limits. It's more valuable to use what we need. Thirdly, there is the danger of losing oneself. Excessive material display can distance us from our essence. Finally, it is also essential to think again about what we truly want. Free from the expectations and gazes of those around us. Ultimately, as we navigate a world of growing materialism, it's crucial to remember that our true happiness isn't necessarily tied to the size or extravagance of our possessions, like refrigerators.